Welcome to the Block and Nickel Podcast, where we talk about finances for now and how to stay rich forever. I am your moderator, Donnell. Special shout out to Block Boy. Damn, I love that song. Who's ready for a little bit of money and motivation? Are you ready for some money and motivation? Once again, I said, are you ready for some money and motivation? Alright, today we're going to be talking about something interesting. This topic is all about monetizing your talents. Again, today we will be speaking about monetizing your talents. Now, we all know someone who is a great cook, or they've been cutting grass all their life, or they just have some type of domestic skill, but they're always complaining about they have money issues. You see, monetizing your talent is all about making money off of what you know. You know, we got some people they are great shit talkers, or they're funny, but they don't want to be a comedian, or they don't want to pursue that talent. But we all have God-given skills. Have you ever looked at someone and you said, damn, you're good at this, but you will be great at that? You know, we all know that person. I know. I sometimes I look at people and I might see a guy he's selling something, or he's designing something, and I'm speaking to him and I'm saying, well, damn, you have a talent right here, but you would probably become a millionaire off of your jokes or something like that, because your thought process is just godly. It's on a whole nother world. And that's what we're talking about today. I'll tell you a story about a conversation that I had with a close friend of mine. And we were talking about economics and just school. And because, a lot of conversations I have with my peers are about school and talent and things like that. And, you know, when we are reminiscing, sometimes we might start here and then we'll finish there. We all had these type of conversations, right? So this particular thing we were speaking about was about us as in African Americans versus everyone else, you know, in the college setting. And something that I was speaking about, and I was very passionate about it, because I do a lot of research about finance, and I started noticing some trends that the guys that are graduating in econ and are graduating with business degrees and all of these things from the top tier schools, the Harvards, the MITs, and all of that. Yeah, some of them go off to do great things, but and work in our government and become our world leaders. But a lot of them go out on their own. They take that skill they learned in school. They take that network of friends that they build, and they go to make money for themselves. They exploit that talent, that skill that they had, and they go and they might just start investing in. They might start a small hedge fund, or they might go out and just start investing for themselves and get rich. And it is very upsetting to me to see that we have a lot of peers, a lot of my peers, a lot of my fellow African American friends, a lot of my, I don't even have to take it to a race thing. I could just take it to a socio-economic level. A lot of the working class families, a lot of the first generation college grads, we pick up skills and we develop them all over time, and we never exploit them for our own benefit. We become consumers, and we are not producers. A lot of us do not produce anything. Yet we have great talents, things that we've picked up along the way, skills that we have developed, you know? And I love when I see ex-athletes who have been training their whole life, they know their body, become personal trainers. Now, the next step would be for them to develop it to another level. And I see it coming. But when I see a guy who's been focused on money his whole life turn around and become a trainer, I ask myself, is that really a muscle that they have been working on? Do they have 10,000 hours in that? Should they really be doing that? Yeah, they might make a little bit of profit, a little bit of income. They might generate some revenue, but they won't hit the peak. They won't become the pinnacle of that industry because they haven't been there long enough. So this time today, we're going to be talking about monetizing your talent, doing things you are great at. My wife, she is very creative. She has been creative her whole life. So it's natural for her to start a creative business. It is natural for my wife to start a creative business because she has been creative her whole life. You see, you have to look into yourself. Do the things that you love. Because in that conversation with my main man, this is my guy. I love him to death. I told him, I said, hey man, you know what my goal is? I want my 9 to 5, my W-2 life to intersect with my entrepreneurial life. And I'm just living to the point where me living provides an income. Because all of the things that I am doing, I love. All of the things that I am doing, I love. So, today we are talking about monetizing your talents. If you love history, if you love finance, if you love exercising, if you love cooking, if you love doodling, fixing things, there is a way for you to make money. Do not neglect that side of your life. Tap into it and run towards it. Because that is your capital. That is your capital. You have tons of it. You have so much of that shit, you could give it away. That's your God-given talent. Run towards your talents. The things that you are natural in. And monetize it. So it doesn't matter what it is. You see, a lot of times we avoid those things. We don't run towards them because they are not sexy. Or they do not. We have an ego thing. And what we might do is we might allow ourselves to avoid doing these things because it doesn't look good. It doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. What will people think about me? So we might not become a cook or a chef, or we might not sell plates on Facebook. Yeah, I said it. If you got a talent or a skill and you know how to cook, that's your skill. Yeah, you might have a W-2 job or whatever like that, and you don't have to open up a restaurant. You can become a caterer. There are a lot of ways that you can tackle it. All I'm saying is, if your talent is cooking, if that is a skill you have developed, you have 10,000 hours in it. Why do you have 10,000 hours in cooking? Because in your working class family of growing up, mom had to work, dad had to work. You had brothers and sisters at home. Somebody had to cook. Damn it, you had to do the cooking. So you developed that skill. You know what good food is. Because every night, mom coming in at 8 o'clock, dad coming in God knows what time. It's what you had to do. You had to make sure that that food was ready for your brother and your sister. So over time, you developed a skill. You learned how to cook. You got 10,000 hours. This is the $10,000 that everybody always talking about. Damn it, you have $10,000. You've been doing that shit your whole life. Jump on it. Monetize it. You see, we have to fight for our success. You see, we have to fight for our success and develop. We have to fight for our success and development. You can't worry about how others view you. That will deter your success. You cannot worry how others view you because that will deter your success. If you can cook, clean, cut grass, or you've been selling something your whole life, do it. Okay, you might not have the money to get started. You have time. It's 24 hours in a day. Oh, here I go. I'm going there. I'm going in right now. I'm going there. It's 24 hours in a day. So don't tell me you don't have time for it. If you work 8 hours a day, if you work 12 hours a day, you still got a full 12 hours. You see, this Block and Nickel podcast, this podcast is not for people who watch 5+ hours of TV or surf the internet for 5+ hours a day. This is not the podcast for you. This is for that body, that person, that being, that God, that queen, that king who wants to fight for success. Not having enough money, that should be the main factor. That should drive you. You see, you got to figure out, because I'm always talking about investing for ownership. I talk about investing for ownership all the time because ownership is a derivative of wealth. You have to find the money to invest. And what is investing? You should know what investing is at this point. But if you don't, investing is when you take capital, you put it into something and you wait for a greater return back. And I use socks, SOCK, for example, one time. You could take your money, you could go buy a set or a box or whatever, a case of socks, wholesale.